One. All right, guys. So first, I guess I should ask, can you see and hear me okay? And I guess it's only the three of us for now. Some more people might join. Okay. Make sure to tell me if the sound quality becomes bad, because, okay. So, how experienced are you guys? You gonna practice this weekend? The best time to practice. I guess we'll start in a second. Hello, Isaac, Neil, Oslo, Belza, Francois. How is everyone doing? I'm gonna practice. I took a big break, but used to have lucid dreams more than once a week. Yeah, me too. I'm actually took a long break to fix my sleeping issues, which we'll talk about. Okay, I guess we can start. So my name is Dominic Paul, and I'm from Lithuania. Well, my name translated into English is Dominik Paul. I'm 20, and I've basically been lucid dreaming my whole life. About when I was about 15 years old, I really started to look deeper into the topic, and that's when I discovered all these terms like astral projection and out-of-body experiences and vibrations and all that. The first time I experienced what people might call an out-of-body experience was when I was 15. I came home and I laid down on the bed, and I wasn't even intending to fall asleep, but somehow I guess I reached that vibrational state. And even though I experienced a lot of lucid dreams before, I never felt anything like that. So I thought, wow, this must be something different, some kind of like I'm actually going out of my body or something. And it's really interesting because I never experienced anything like that before I read something about the vibrations. So just knowing that a thing like that exists somehow can make it happen, which is very interesting. And so over the years, I kind of practiced, but wasn't really serious about it. It was only like a year ago when I found Michael Raduga's 3-day seminar is when I really started to like getting more into it, because each night of the 3 nights that the seminars went for, I achieved these great phases, like full of, you keep losing me? I'm sorry, I don't know, my connection should be good. So might be something on your end. But yeah, last year I really started getting more into it, and that's how I found Michael Raduga and the Elijah Project and everything. Now about the nature of the phenomenon itself, back when I was starting out, it was I really thought it was like astral projection, like actually going outside of my body. But as I kept experiencing more and more, it it seemed to like I seemed to kind of kept losing that belief, because um I tried many experiments to try to prove to myself that I'm actually traveling out of my body, but so far I haven't found any like 100% evidence that anything in the phase is actually outside of your brain, unfortunately. I'm definitely keeping my mind open, and I'm not saying it's impossible, but after all I've experienced, I haven't found anything that can really prove that for sure it's outside of the brain. If you guys had an experience that really convinced you that you're traveling outside of your body, then you can write it in the chat. But for me, I haven't. That hasn't happened for me. So anyway, what will we talk about in this webinar? Um, I want to tell you about lifestyle stuff, like the most important things that you can do in real life to increase your phase chances, because in our modern world, it's really difficult to find the time to actually practice. Like, it's really hard to find the energy to wake up in the middle of the night and do indirect methods. So the best thing that you can do is to learn how to become more conscious while dreaming, like get more random lucid dreams to happen. So I'll tell you all about how to do that, because then you won't have to mess with your sleep schedule. You can just go to sleep and you'll have random lucid dreams without worrying about doing the indirect method and waking up in the night. Next thing we're going to talk about, number two, is it's kind of an underrated topic because it might not be a problem for many people, but for me, it is. It's like the visual quality of your dreams, like the graphics, you could say, like in a video game. Sometimes for me, they're like extremely bad, like not realistic at all. So, and I'm not talking about the brightness or clarity of the dream. I mean the actual objects themselves. How to, if you're having problems with that, how to actually improve it. The next thing is interacting with dream characters. That's one of the most interesting things that I'm focusing on these days, because I realized everything in the dream world is basically a reflection of you. So, so every character represents some part of your psyche, and talking to each character and finding out more about what you can do to improve your life, like what you can do for your subconscious. That's it's a really big topic in an unexplored area. Number four is how to actually remember making attempts with the indirect method, because it can be extremely hard. It was for me to actually wake up and remember to do an attempt, like not move and keep your eyes closed and just stay still. Like using intentions, it never worked well for me. So I'll try to tell you about how you can um, better remember to do the awakening techniques with the indirect method. Number five is how to not overdo the indirect method so that you don't get insomnia issues like I did. Because if you mess with your sleep quality too much, then you can start having trouble falling asleep, and it's not fun to be a lucid dreamer and not be able to fall asleep. It sucks. So believe me. And number six, I'll talk about some of my favorite techniques transitioning into the phase. I probably won't talk too much about it because there's already so much information about it that you can find. But yeah, I guess let's get into the first thing, lifestyle. What you can do in real life that will directly affect your phase number. And the most important thing here is to raise awareness. Like, we can get the obvious things out of the way. Like, the healthier life you live, then the better phase experiences you will have. So like sleep, I mean exercise, diet, stay hydrated, social life, life direction, all that obvious stuff. Let's just get that out of the way. Like, yeah, have a healthy life and you'll have good phases. But what I want to focus on is how to actually raise awareness so that you become conscious while dreaming like more. The number one obvious thing is meditation, of course. that's like at the top of the list of every kind of how to live your life healthier list. And meditation is one of the like the foundational thing that you should get to like start raising that awareness. Now, anything will help. Any kind of meditation, mindfulness technique will work. It'll immediately start increasing your awareness. But the one that I recommend is it's from a book called The Mind Illuminated, and it's written by a neuroscientist who's also a Buddhist master. His name is John Yates. And he takes a very pragmatic, practical approach. It's basically the science of meditation, like how to start from a really restless mind and then move on to like actually having so much focus. And this will help you in lucid dreaming because it'll help you actually like stay single-mindedly focused on whatever your goal is in the lucid dream, because the less distractions you have in your mind, then the easier it will be to actually go after your objective. And it'll help you in the separation stage as well. Like if you're doing the indirect method, it'll help you separate because you won't be thinking too much. You'll just be completely focused on separating. So that's meditation for you. Now the most important thing after meditation is it might even be more important. It's a technique called all-day awareness, where you basically you're like meditating all the time basically, and it's really exhausting, of course. So even if it's called all-day awareness, you don't need to do it all day. But the point of it is, for example, right now, what am I doing? I've been focused on talking to you, but I haven't been aware of everything else, like the weight of my clothes on my shirt, or the chair, or my, I don't know, the hair on my eye. Like I haven't been aware of this stuff because I'm not that good at the technique, but it's an extremely useful thing to do, like in sessions every day, like 5 to 10 minutes, just focus on completely like taking in everything that's in the environment. Now, what this will do is, in a dream, you'll start basically doing the same thing. You'll build the habit of observing everything around you, and it's kind of crazy how lucid dreams can just appear out of nowhere all of a sudden. Like you won't even know why you became lucid, but the more you do this technique, the more it'll happen. Like basically, so yeah, in real life, anytime you're just doing anything, like walking down the street or typing something on your computer, like feel the actual fingertips touching the computer, feel yourself in the chair, feel the smells around you. Like when you're walking around outside, notice if each smell, each breath smells different, or like how the cushions on your shoes, like how they feel. And the more you do this, the more natural it will become, and it'll be easier to keep it going all day. And it's one of the best for increasing random lucid dreams for no reason. You'll just become lucid, and you won't know why. But the awareness in the background, that's what does it. The next thing on lifestyle is a consistent sleep schedule. I've tried to be successfully phasing on a lower sleep amount, but it's usually not that great. Like if you try to really deprive yourself of sleep and just go to sleep in the day and then the night for 5 hours and then the daytime for like 2 hours and then like completely mess up everything, then it's actually interesting because that does give you results. It gives you some good results, but in the long run, you'll just develop sleeping problems, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, keep a consistent sleep schedule. Don't try to not to mess with it, and that's why I recommend building more awareness in real life so that you have more random lucid dreams instead of using the indirect method too much, where you have to wake up in the night and mess with your sleep. Um, a really good exercise you can do to increase your lucidity length in a dream is just walk around outside and pretend you're in a lucid dream. And then while you're walking, you just think in your mind, you keep it in your head, I am lucid, I am aware. And you keep that going over and over again. And it's very likely that you will forget about it and just start thinking about something else. So, and you can really not, it doesn't have to be that phrase. You can, for example, count your breaths or just focus on your breaths or anything that keeps your mind focused. You can keep doing that, and it serves the same purpose as meditation, but it's easier to imagine because you can pretend you're in a lucid dream right then. And the longer that you can stay focused on whatever thought you have, then you can pretend like that's the amount of time you would be lucid in an actual phase. So if you start thinking about something else and you forget about the phrase, I am aware, I am lucid, you can take that as a sign that that's how long you would be lucid in a phase. So yeah, the more you do this, the easier it will get. It's really good. It's just meditation by walking, and you can pretend you're in an actual lucid dream or astral thing, whatever you want to call it. Now about using the phase as an escape from reality, that's a really bad idea because, well, basically, it's not even possible to do because the more you try to the more attempts you try to make every night over and over again, then it'll start getting really hard to actually phase because I don't know why, but you just need to take a rest sometimes. And if every day you're just trying to kill time to just get to the next night, just get to the next phase to escape your horrible reality instead of trying to actually fix your life, then you just won't have a very good time. Because I always like to say that the better your life is, the better your dreams will be, or the better your phase experiences will be. Because, like, think about it, everything that you experience in real life, everything that you feel and see and hear, all of that gets processed into dreams. So the more that you experience and see in real life, then the more possibilities you unlock in the dream world. So if you guys have any questions so far, go ahead and ask me. I've never really done anything like this, so I'm not sure if everything's clear. But so to summarize, the more awareness you build in your life, then the more random conscious dreams you'll get. And that will save you time because you don't need to wake up in the middle of the night and do separation techniques and all that and worry, are you going to fall asleep or not, or all of that. Now, I'll talk later about the benefits of indirect techniques too. Because there is a purpose to them. They're definitely really useful compared to just random conscious dreams. Now, the next thing is it was a problem for me for a pretty long time until I figured out how to fix it. It's about the quality of your dream world. Like, I used to play a lot of video games, and basically my dreams kind of took on the look of those games, and it became extremely annoying because I couldn't get rid of it. My dreams just didn't look realistic. So I thought, okay, I'm sick of this. How do I fix this? And I realized, okay, it would make sense if the more I paid attention to the real world, then the more my brain could work with what I see and put that into a dream instead of some stupid video game. So one really good technique you can do for this, and this works as a reality check as well, like increasing your awareness. You can just take any kind of object, like a leaf, for example, and you look at the smallest details of it. You look at the little scratches, the dust, the indentations, the dots. If it's a reflective object, just look at the reflections and everything. For example, on this glass, like look at the little bubbles. And the more you focus on these little details in the world, then the more you'll see them in your dreams. Now, not everyone will have a problem with this that they need to fix, but if your dreams kind of seem like they're low quality, then like try to pay more attention to the graphics in the world. For example, like this pencil, right? Um, Look at all the scratches and stuff. But this can work on a bigger, larger scale as well. Like look at entire trees or mountains or videos of like space or just great big areas and really try to focus on what that looks like. Like really see it. Don't just mindlessly stare. And then what helps even more is if you flex your visualization skills and actually remember what you saw. You can do this while falling asleep. You remember the objects that you looked at while you throughout the day, and that helps you really flex those vision fucking visual skills. Um, but oh, one thing I didn't mention is how you can use this close inspection technique to actually like as a reality check. So like usually the reality checks that people recommend are looking at your hands or pinching your nose, but if you're in public, that's kind of you're gonna look crazy. So a thing you can do is it's just whenever you have time, just start looking at an object and do it with the intention that you're doing a reality check right now. Like say, like think, I'm looking at this pencil because I'm questioning my reality. And it's really fun to do. It's not boring like other reality checks because you can always find an object to look at and just notice the smallest details. And it's really cool because sometimes in a dream you'll do that. Like at least this happened once to me. I took a pen in a dream and I started looking at it real close. And of course, in a dream, it's really hard for objects to stay stable. They start moving around. So I was looking at it and it started moving around and I realized, oh my God, I'm dreaming. And it only happened because I started doing this thing in real life where I just look at objects. So it builds your awareness and it builds the graphical quality of your dreams. Really cool. Did I forget to mention something? I guess, oh, another thing about questioning reality, right? For example, in a dream, um, you don't think things are out of the ordinary or weird, right? Because you don't have that habit of questioning reality in real life. So, for example, let's take this lighter, for instance. Have you ever questioned why it can do this? How is this possible? Like, how can you just create fire out of basically some kind of weird device? So, the more you question reality in a fun way, the more you'll start doing it in your dreams. Like, because right now this is normal, right? Theoretically, this lighter is normal, but in a dream, you might do that with a banana, right? Fire might come out of a banana, and you won't think that's weird unless you question reality in your real life and have that habit of realizing that something's not supposed to happen here. And you can do this with any object, or like, and it's really fun because you can question cars, like you can look at the cars and think, how does this really make sense? Some kind of metal boxes that drive around, or trees, for example. Like this table is made out of a tree, but it looks nothing like a tree. How is this possible? You just have fun with it, and that builds your awareness and the questioning of your reality, and you start doing that in your dream. And when something is actually wrong in a phase, then it has the capacity to turn you lucid. Um, Now let's move on to the next thing, which is interacting with dream characters. Such an interesting thing, because like I said in the beginning, everything in the dream world, if you're coming at this from the perspective that everything in there is a projection of your subconscious, if you're because I don't know, maybe it is possible that the things that you see are outside of the brain, but for now, like as far as I can tell, most of the stuff or all of it is part of your subconscious. So that means all of the dream characters represent a part of your psyche, and you can like walk around and talk to them as if you're a boss, talking to your employees and taking suggestions or criticisms of what you can fix in your real life. Um, a really a good way to figure out uh, what those characters represent is to just go up and ask them like, hey, what do you represent? And then I mean sometimes it's really hard to talk to characters, but when it works, it's really interesting because some characters might say they represent like your anger or your aggression or your apathy or something. And then you can ask them, how do I fix it? How do I make you happier so that you're not so hateful or something? And then maybe you get a suggestion of what you can work on in real life. Um, Now, one of the coolest things is, for example, you know monsters and negative entities and phases and dreams. I used to really like fighting them. I used to really like killing monsters, thinking I'm so cool because I don't know, maybe I thought I'm killing like bad parts of myself. But as you might know, the more you resist something, the harder it comes back and haunts you. Um, so the best thing that you can do in real life too is to just accept those negative whatever they are, and by accepting them you're turning something so negative into something positive. Like for example, I was in a dream, a lucid dream, I guess, a phase, and I looked into the mirror and there was some kind of like fat guy on my back, and it was like holding me down. It felt like some kind of obvious metaphor that I have some kind of regrets holding me down or something, and I couldn't get him off. I tried everything. I tried to like push him, but he just would not come off. And then I thought, okay, what if I just try accepting the thing? I'm like, okay, I love you. Okay, I'm sorry for whatever I did, but I accept you now. And it disappeared. Okay, by accepting it, it disappeared. And the point here really is to feel how something so negative can turn into something positive just by accepting it. And then in real life, you're more open to something like that, like doing something like that with your actual feelings, right? So if there's something you hate about yourself, if you're feeling angry or hateful or negative, like since you already did that in a dream, turn something negative into positive, you can kind of imagine how you could do that for yourself in real life. Um, so like if there's something you hate about yourself, you accept it, and then you try to turn it into something positive. And it's really cool, man. Another story is when I was in a phase and there was a serial killer chasing me, and he had a bloody knife. His face was all messed up, and he was going after me. But I thought, okay, like, hey, this guy is so terrifying. But what if I just tried to hug him? Um, oh, okay, Oslo. Sorry, the record will be uploaded to YouTube anyway, so you can watch it there if you want. If you want. Um, yeah, as I was saying, there was the serial killer, and it looked like it would really hurt if I tried to get close to him and hug him or something, but I did it, and he kind of became friendly. He was kind of like okay then. He became okay. Or when I in a dream I saw some dream character spitting on someone else, and I thought maybe that's a part of my brain that's like unempathetic to people and like hates people or something. And so I went up and I accepted it. I was really afraid that I would get spit on too, and I thought that would be so disgusting, but it didn't happen. I went up and I hugged him, and the negativity of the atmosphere of negativity kind of just went away, and it really kind of shows you the possibility of what you can do with transforming something negative into something positive. I know I keep repeating myself here, but yeah, you can do it in real life too if you actually see how it's possible in a phase. Um, the next thing, about dream characters is about dead people. I always heard, of course, that you can contact dead relatives or yeah, anyone who's dead, and you can like say goodbye to them and find peace, basically. But I didn't really see how that would work because I thought, okay, so I know you can find them and you can say goodbye, but when you wake up, I thought it's still a dream, right? Like you will still know that you dreamt it and it wasn't real. However, it wasn't until I did the experiment for the Elijah project where you have to contact someone who's dead, and I chose my history teacher. Um, and so in the dream, I went into a phase, and I thought, okay, how do I find him? Well, I planned this beforehand. Of course, you have to have a plan of action. That's a very important part. But so I went into the phase, and I created a portal to his classroom because I thought it would be easier for my brain to understand why he should be in a classroom. Because of course you can make characters appear by just walking around the corner and expecting them to be there. But for me, that never worked. The logical part of my brain always needs to understand why the hell someone should be there. So I thought if I go to his classroom, he'll be there. It's like cause and effect. Your brain needs to understand. So I translocate to there, and I see students. They can't see me. They're just having a normal day, a normal boring day of writing something on their papers, and there's some kind of black piano to the side and flowers and some kind of board with names on it. And I thought maybe this was some kind of funeral type of thing. I thought maybe, and because I thought that this might be a funeral, then of course that's what happens. Um, well, not really. It wasn't a funeral, but that's the intention of this whole scenario. And before I looked to the front of the class, before I saw him, there was this angelic music playing, like heavenly, like totally crazy, like the most peaceful music I've ever heard. And I turned to look at him, and this feeling of peace washes over me. of like complete like a feeling of it's okay, like he's okay somewhere. It felt like I was in his heaven, and that really changed how I felt about like meeting your dead relatives in a dream or something, because even if they're not actually them, even if they're not real per se, the feelings that you feel when you see them, when you're when you see them, they're so real. So I was just watching him, just doing the thing he loves the most, just teaching him, just teaching students in the classroom. And I wanted to ask him questions, but I didn't want to interrupt him because it looked so peaceful. And that music that was playing, it was so beautiful. And I really don't think that beauty like that can be experienced in real life. At least I've never felt anything like that. So I can kind of understand now how you can feel peace by finding a dead relative, because just seeing them be all okay, it really has an effect. Even if they're not real, the feelings are real for sure. Uh, the next story that I can share with you, it's about higher beings, like finding something that you would think is higher than you in a phase. So it could be angels or aliens, demons, even anything that you would think that's kind of in a higher dimension. So the reason I want to talk about this is also because in the Elijah Project there was an experiment to contact an angel, and so in this dream I was just walking down a road, and because of the awareness I was practicing in real life, I I became lucid for no apparent reason, but I remembered my plan of action to find an angel, and I start to imagine that a white light will come from behind me, and when I turn around, there will be some kind of a white figure, right? And so that's what started happening. Um, a white light started shining from behind me, and I turned around and I see this thing, and this feeling of like of a shaking comes over me, of like my brain can't handle looking at this thing, and it was like it felt like obviously looking at something that is higher than yourself and that you shouldn't be looking at it. Now, I don't know if it was an actual angel or that something outside of me, but it's crazy how it felt. And before this experience, I had another phase where I discovered an alien, right? A tall, normal looking alien like in all the movies, and I felt that same feeling of as if I was looking at something that was higher than myself and my brain couldn't handle it. And so I'm wondering why why do I feel this? If it's an angel or an alien or even Lucifer one time, I tried to call the devil, and then I started getting that feeling like there was a presence of something higher than me. So I don't know why that feeling happens, and I guess it's like if you're looking at something that you perceive as higher than yourself, that that kind of activates that. And I'd be really curious to know with what other creatures you could do that. So if whoever's listening, try that. Try to find aliens and angels and see if, I don't know, you feel what I felt, but who knows? Um, the next thing is another story about how how dream characters can really represent parts of your subconscious or like help you. And because you can summon like a psychologist to talk to you and like talk to you about your problems and like figure out with the psychologist what you should be doing in your life. Um, now I've had a few experiences with that, but it's sometimes it's really hard to remember the conversation, but it's definitely possible. But the thing I want to talk about is this one phase where I had like four characters surrounding me, and this wasn't a part of my life when I was really trying to improve, really trying to make myself healthier and better. And so with these four characters around me, they were kind of telling me like, "We're with you now. It's okay. We got you. Like, we will work together now with you." So it felt kind of like my mind was telling me that um, it's getting more like I'm getting more in touch with my feelings and like listening to my mind and my body. And so you can do so many things like this with the phase. Like it can be a direct reflection of what you're doing in real life. You can see how you're improving your mind, basically. One really interesting thing is with the mirrors. If you look into a mirror, in real life, when you look into a mirror, what does that represent? You see a reflection of your physical self, right? But in a dream, when you look into a mirror, you see a reflection of your emotional and mental self. So, depending on what you see, that can really give you a clue of how you're doing or how you're subconsciously feeling in real life. If you look into a mirror in the face and you see your face all weird and ugly and broken and distorted, then maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you should look into maybe you should really fix something. But if you're in the phase and you look into the mirror and your face looks nice and clear and exactly how it should in real life, then that can give you a clue that you're going in the right direction. Now, of course, it's not always going to be like that. It's not always proven why you appear in a mirror like this or like that. But if everything is a reflection of you and with a mirror, then that's literally a reflection of you, then I would think that it's a good clue um, that you can use to find out about your life. Um, let's see. About the indirect method. Hello, Robin. Um, for me, the indirect method is really it's really useful because you usually remember your plan of action like instantly compared to just becoming conscious while dreaming. I talked a lot about how the best way is to improve your awareness so that you increase the number of random lucid dreams. But when you do that, when you become randomly in a lucid dream, then it's sometimes hard to remember your plan of action. So that this is where if you really want to do something, the indirect method is good as long as you don't overdo it and give yourself sleeping problems. So how to remember to actually make attempts upon awakening. Um, these are just a few tips I have. If you haven't tried the practical alarm clock, then it's extremely useful. Of course, you can just use intentions, but just intend and make it your last thought to stay still upon awakening and keep your eyes closed. But that kind of never worked for me. The practical alarm clock is good because, like Michael Rodriguez, on his website, you can find it. It wakes you up after 40 minutes, and then every 20 minutes, it makes a sound, and like you don't have to worry about keeping an intention to wake up. You can just wake up and make your attempt. But one of the more creative ways to remember to not move is I've tried this. It actually works. You can tie yourself to the bed, like you can restrain yourself somehow, and that will make you not move. Or anything that will remind you upon awakening to stay still is good. Like any kind of physical sensation that you can feel immediately, it will remind you to stay still. A sleep mask on your face is really good because you wake up and you feel the sleep mask, and that instantly reminds you to stay still and make the attempt, basically. Another thing that you can do is even if you fail to stay still, like even if it's 2 minutes later and you've already rolled around and used your phone and stuff, you can still remember like, oh crap, I was supposed to stay still. So you can lie back down and just pretend that you succeeded. And over time, uh, it'll become easier to remember. Like the next night, maybe you'll remember after a minute that you were supposed to stay still, or after 30 seconds, then after 15 seconds, and that's how you can train yourself to stay still upon awakening. Um, I guess, yeah. So, but the thing you have to really be aware of is that if you overdo the direct method, if you do it way too much, then you might start having sleeping problems and insomnia. So basically, if you make too many attempts, too many nights in a row over many weeks and months, it really can really mess things up. Now, this won't happen to everyone. If you've never had a history of sleeping problems, then you might be fine. Well, be careful, of course, but just don't do it too much. Like Michael Raduga recommends, keep it to 2 to 3 times a week. But if you're a dumbass like me and overdid it way too much, then the way that you can overcome it is by, like, not every tip for insomnia will work for everyone, but for me, how I managed to overcome it is to make myself tired after the day. And this ties into the better life that you have, the better phases that you will have. Because the more that you experience in real life, the more tired you will be after the day. And so if you're having insomnia problems, you just do a lot of sports, do a lot of go out of your comfort zone a lot so that you're tired. And that's the thing that helps me most overcome insomnia. And I can lucid dream again pretty good. So that's cool. Also, eat a lot of bananas and drink a lot of tea. That seems to help for some reason. I mean, I think it's proven, but I'm not sure, but it does help. I know tea is for sure proven to improve sleep. I don't know about bananas, but those two things help. Um, do any of you three have any questions before we just move on to my favorite techniques? I'm not sure I'm gonna talk much about this because like you can find all of this in the Facebook by Michael Raduga, like all the techniques, all the good ones. Um, I'm just here to introduce you to some concepts. And oh, about the bananas, it suppresses REM in the first half of the sleep, so it helps. Oh, interesting, interesting. So that's why. Hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that for some reason I never dream anymore in the first half of the night. I guess that's why, maybe. But um, so yeah, if you want all the techniques, all the good ones, just read The Phase by Michael Raduga. I'm just here to introduce you to some concepts and some ideas that you might find interesting. But so yeah, about preparing for the attempt itself, like sleep positions and moon phases, chakras, crystals. I mean, none of these things are proven to help objectively with lucid dreaming, but if it helps you build confidence, if it helps you build that belief that you will have a phase, like if there's a certain crystal near your bed and you get a phase that night, then you can start building that association that, okay, if there's a crystal there, then I get a phase. Whatever helps you build confidence and association for your brain, just do it, because even if it's a placebo, basically, well, one of the coolest things is that studies have shown that even if you're aware that you're taking a placebo, then it still works. So even if you know that sleep positions or chakras, crystals, whatever, even if you know that they might not magically do something, if it helps you build that confidence, that assurance that you will succeed, then just do it. It's a good thing. Now, separating itself with the indirect method, I just keep it really simple. I just wake up, manage to manage when I actually manage to stay still. I simply just imagine myself rolling out. But what I do that most people don't is as soon as I start feeling that rotation, as soon as I start feeling my sensations, like any kind of phantom sensations, I just pop my eyes open. I just like open my eyes like as physically as possible. And usually what happens is I actually open my dream eyes. So I know a lot of people try this and they end up just opening their eyes in sleep paralysis. And that happens to me a few times. But usually when I start feeling some kind of sensations, um, then then I just open my eyes and I'm in the dream, in the phase. So you can try that. The other technique I most often use, I learned it on the Elijah project. It's how you can just look into the darkness, but not really try to see anything in there. You just kind of look and passively just look, and objects or images start to appear. And you don't focus on them, you kind of look through them, and then somehow from that a dream begins to evolve. And yeah, that's my other favorite technique. Now when you're actually in the dream, the deepening technique I always use, it's the obvious one, just touching everything around you, but a lot of people don't mention how you're supposed to actually remember what the objects feel like, the ones that you're touching. It like when you're touching something and you're just trying to feel something, then you might not feel anything. But when you actually remember what those things are supposed to feel like from reality, when you actually remember, then then the clarity starts increasing really fast. Then the phase becomes deeper really fast. So that's the trick. Um, Now about maintaining, back when I used to believe that astral projection was different from lucid dreaming, I somehow was able to from a lucid dream kind of initiate the vibrations. And you know, the vibrations aren't necessary for phasing at all, but I get them. And so in a lucid dream, I just kind of intend to kind of separate from my body, because there are a lot of tutorials that I read how you can go from lucid dreaming into an astral state, and somehow it works as a maintaining technique, because you basically reset the dream and you're able to continue it, because if the dream is fading out, if the phase is like going away, then you can kind of intend to separate from your body, and all of a sudden you're having an out of body experience. And those states do feel different, but I don't think, I can't tell anymore. It makes no difference to me. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is the intention to reset the dream kind of can just can make you maintain it for longer. Uh, the next thing is latching onto an object. So when you're phase is starting to dissipate, you grab anything you can. You grab anything you can, like a light pole or your shirt even. And then when you start waking up, you actually feel that thing while after you wake up. And then from that you can start kind of touching it more, and you can start imagining yourself touching it more and everything, and you can bring yourself back into the dream. That's a really good one. Then diving into the ground is also a good one for like I said, resetting the dream. When you dive into the ground, you kind of, at least for me, um, I dive into the ground, and then I once again enter that separation stage where I'm just lying in my bed with the vibrations and the white light happening, and I do the phantom rotations again, and I separate again. So there's really an art to ending your dream at the right time to start a new one and basically keep going for as long as you want. Now, the more advanced that you get, the more important it becomes to do reality checks when you wake up. Because for me, um, dreams almost never end anymore, at least phases. When I think that they're ending, they never do. They just go into another false awakening, and it just continues like forever. Not forever, but for some reason, the more advanced you get, the more false awakenings you get. So before you become advanced, it's a really good idea to get that habit of doing reality checks as soon as you wake up. Count your hands. But a really good reality check that I recently discovered is to just have an object by your bed, like this leaf again, and just when you wake up, just look at it and see if there's anything off about it. And this is I don't I hate the reality check where you just look at your hands because it's boring. But with an actual object, you look at it, and in a dream, the longer you look at something, the more unstable it becomes. So you can just look at this for 10 seconds after you wake up, and if nothing seems wrong with it, you know, you're fine. But in a phase, the object might not be there, or it might not be a leaf at all, it might be a weird thing. Hello, Eduardo. Um, so yeah, the more advanced you get, the more important awakening checks are. Another maintaining technique is I haven't tried this one, but I wanted to bring more attention to it because I thought it's really good. I heard it mentioned in Yuri's webinar, how you can sing, while you're in the phase, and this works because you're keeping that attention on remembering that you're aware. So like I said before, while you can just walk down the street and you can repeat the phrase, I am lucid, I am aware, or just focus on your breath. And the longer you can focus on it, then the longer your lucidity can last. So you can do this with a song too. The longer you sing, then the longer you can remember to stay lucid. I guess that's how it would work. I haven't tried this one, but I think sounds like a really good one. Um, some other things I can mention, not related to techniques, is how it's about mood changing dreams. How you can really if you're in a bad situation or you're like in a negative mind state, bad mood, you can just um basically take a nap and do something in the phase, and when you wake up you'll be in such a much better mood. And this is one of my favorite applications, which is why I've been trying so much to fix my sleep schedule, because I would really like, or fix my sleep issues, because I would really like to just be able to take a nap anytime I want, and basically just become happier. Can you give some results about OBE in your daily routine? Yeah, like I talked about before, with accepting negative characters in a phase, when you kind of accept like a negative entity, like a monster, or um or just a bad looking person, and you're basically, what you're doing is accepting like a negative part of yourself and turning it into something positive, and that opens up possibilities in your mind of how you could do it in real life, how you could turn your negative emotions into positive ones by just being with yourself and accepting them. Or if you hate something about yourself, instead of trying to resist it, because the more I notice that the more you try to resist some kind of negative character in a dream, then the more they'll just come after you and go after you. But as soon as you accept them, they kind of become your friend, and you kind of become one with them sometimes. So that, I hope that's kind of what you were asking. That's kind of what helped me, just realizing how changeable your feelings and thoughts are by doing it in a dream with actual dream characters. Um, the next thing is, it's I guess music creation, like the things, the art that can be created in your dreams is so phenomenal. If Because for me, I get so much music in my dreams, and it sounds like the best thing in the world. Um, and if for musicians out there, like, if you can figure out how to remember those melodies and those songs, and you recreate them, you'll be a genius. Like, I mean, there already are people like that. I know the Beatles, I think, dreamt of a song or something and made it. And if the world learned how to harness this power, we would all be like, there would be so much beautiful stuff created. Like, because I can't draw at all, but in dreams, I see these amazing paintings and drawings and art, and it just really shows how much more we how much more powerful our brains are than we realize. And if we somehow gained access to it, and oh god, everyone in the world would be geniuses. And so that's why I think it's so important that the phase becomes more mainstream. The more people know about this phenomenon, the faster the damn world can change already. That would be really nice. um do any of you guys have more questions, because kind of nearing the end here? Mm. One of, again, I can talk more about how interesting it is to just question your reality. For example, look at this banana. Like, isn't it crazy? Have bananas always been yellow, right? In a dream, like, if you build this habit in real life of just questioning silly things, then in a dream you'll actually stumble upon something that actually doesn't make sense. And the more you increase this awareness in real life, the more you'll start questioning in your dreams. Like, I don't know what other example I can give you here. Like this computer. How are you listening or hearing me in, like, right now? Like, you're probably across the world right now, and somehow you can see and hear me even though you're on the other side of the planet. So does that really make sense to you? I mean, think about it. Does it really make sense? I mean, yeah, you could explain it by saying, oh, it's computers, technology, but do you really know how it works? And even if you do, does it matter? It's still insane. Um, and in a dream, in a normal dream, you'll always make up these excuses for how something works. Like, you can see me right now because we invented computers and cameras and technology, but in a dream you can also explain like a dinosaur or something by saying, oh, we like maybe you saw Jurassic Park and that kind of messes with your mind a bit, and you in the dream you think, oh, it's because we revived dinosaurs, but not really. So you can, the less you try to explain why something should be there, um, the more awareness you get. Like, I mean, no, the more you try to figure out why something is how it is, then the more awareness you get. Like, phones, crazy device. How is it possible? You know? And just have fun with it, question everything, and that'll build your awareness to give you more random lucid dreams and phases. And I suppose that's about it. If you guys don't have any more questions, um, if suppose then, thank you for coming. I hope you found uh, something useful, some kind of piece of information helped you. Um, that's my hope that at least something was useful. And I guess I'll see you guys maybe again sometime. Thank you for watching. Yeah, goodbye.